Hello, it is, let's start that again. Saturday, June 29th. And it's a couple days before Camp Nano begins, but I'm so behind. I'm only like 17,000 words in, and I'm supposed to be at 50,000 by the end of tomorrow in terms of my revision. Obviously, that's not going to happen because I've just kind of been like I was traveling for work, and then I was like just tired, and it's so hot, man. Anyway, right now I'm working on Storm Cloud revisions, draft 8.5, and I'm on like the middle to end of chapter 6, which is the last chapter of part 1, and then part 2 starts when she enters this new world. So right now I'm listening to Barry's Happy to Be Here album, and the album stream is like 33 minutes, so that's like perfect for a bit of a writing sprint or a revision sprint. And I'm like halfway through the album now, and I've not done very much. Right now I'm really just looking at my notes for things that I want to change in this chapter, and kind of like figuring that out up here, and then reading through the draft and trying to figure out how to make those changes. Excuse the noises of cars driving by loudly. I have my window open because it is currently 73 degrees outside and I don't have an air conditioner in my apartment. So I'm home from Barnes & Noble. I was there for about 5.5 hours. That's the earliest I've ever went to a Barnes & Noble in like a very long time, perhaps ever. I got there at 11:15 and I was there until like 4:45. So we were there for a while, and I think my progress shows. So now if you remember, first of all, it's June 30th. It's the day before Camp NaNoWriMo starts. My goal by the end of June was to reach the 50,000 word mark in my story, which is actually about the same point that it was like 2 years ago when I wrote this entire draft in 2 months. It's the exact same 50,000 word mark, which is interesting because like the story has changed, you know, like a lot of it has stayed the same, but like even just like in revising things, you know, scenes get longer, get shorter, things get cut, new scenes are added, scenes are taken out. The first chapter has changed about 50 times, and it's still altogether about the same amount of words, so that's interesting. But anyway, so my goal was to hit 50,000 basically by the end of today, and no surprise there, I did not hit that goal, but I did make a lot of progress today. And if I had been working the way I had today, at least a couple other days this past week or two, I definitely would have probably hit my goal. So anyway, I am currently at the 33,000 word mark. To be specific, 32,938 words in. That's how many words I have revised of this story so far. We are really just like 3 or 4 chapters into part 2. So that means that I revised a total of 15,393 words today, because I started around 17,500. Look at all those numbers, numbers everywhere. I mentioned in my Camp NaNoWriMo tag video that I just did that I'm almost at the end of this notebook, and that once I finished that, I was going to start writing in this notebook for Storm Cloud. But I have since had a change of heart. The last few months or so, I've been becoming really interested in my family, learning more about it, and how there's so much that like I don't know about my family in terms of like what countries we've come from. Like I can go about as far back as my grandparents, where they came from, but we don't know too much about, you know, where people came before then. I wanted to start keeping a record of like my family and like what I know about it, and like, you know, every now and then somebody else's name, like a cousin that I've never heard of, comes up. So I'm gonna like start writing those in here, and I feel like it's pretty perfect because there's a tree, so it's like family tree, you know, and it's leather, so it makes it seem really fancy and really official. While I was at Barnes & Noble, I did buy another notebook. Somebody stopped me. I have bought 2 notebooks in the last week. This is the new notebook that I just bought. Isn't it pretty? Look at the flower color. The color of the edges is pink. So that's really cool. And I like this journal because it kind of matches this one in terms of the background shade. Like it's this, what color would you call that? Like a greenish kind of situation. I'm Dumbo. It's like 5:30 p.m. right now. I don't think I'm gonna write anything else today, like if I'm being honest, because I do have to get ready for tomorrow. I need to cook some dinner, or rather I need to cook my lunch for tomorrow because I have sloppy joes in the fridge, but I don't want to eat a sloppy joe at work. So I have to make something else to eat at work instead because I'm about to chow down on some sloppy joes tonight. Oh my gosh, I remember in my elementary school, you know, there was a few dishes that we, you know, they just kind of cycled through the same few dishes in the cafeteria, and I remember sloppy joes with great admiration. Like, I loved sloppy joe day. Camp NaNoWriMo starts tomorrow. Yeah. Woo! Just to recap, my goal is to finish my revision of Stormcloud by the end of the month. The trick is just to go to the cafe, you know. As long as I'm at the cafe, I'm pretty much guaranteed to do the work. This is Camper Sydney signing out. Woo! Isn't that from a TV show, like one of the fake Girl Scout groups or something? Anyway, I'm signing off now. It just started raining, y'all. Now I really do want to write. I don't even know if you can see it through here. Hello, it's the first day of July and it's 9:03 p.m. and I have not yet written today. Oh my gosh, I had it all planned out, okay? After work, I went to Barnes & Noble just like I was planning to, and I was going to write until the cows came home or something. But then I just like wasn't feeling so great, and I was like, I should just be at home right now. So I was only there for like a few minutes. I guess it was just one of those days where you just need to relax, and it's hard to like make yourself be productive and do things, and it just sucks that it coincided on the first day of July. I'm going to just do like a half-hour writing sprint and just see how far I can get. Got clothes drying, air drying behind me, so that's why there's that there. But anyway, so it's now 9:49 and I finished my half-hour writing sprint. I finished the chapter, so I'm at like 35,474 words now. I'm gonna get ready for bed now. I'm gonna drink more of my peppermint tea, and I will see you tomorrow for what is hopefully a more fruitful day of revisions. Hello, so it is the second day of July and it is 5:30 p.m. No, 5:28. What the heck? My iPad just literally went from 30 to 28. That's weird, man. Time is moving in reverse. I just got home from work. I'm about to wash dishes because I have found that if I want to do something that I don't really want to do, the best way for me to do it is to just do it without thinking about it, because if I start thinking about it, I allow myself to make excuses for why I shouldn't do that thing. So yeah, now I'm washing dishes. I'm about to watch a little bit of YouTube to get me through this hard time. As I was getting to the end of my day and I was thinking about like my story, trying to psych myself up and get, you know, really excited about it. Not that I'm not, but you know, sometimes I have to get myself into it. So I was thinking about my story, and I'm at this point now where some really big thing, really bad thing has just happened. And everybody's kind of like freaking out and trying to figure out what's going on. And my main character has the opportunity to do something. And the way I had it in the previous drafts is that she's kind of just like not really doing anything, kind of waiting on other people to say what she's allowed to do and whatnot. Realistically, my character would do something in this situation. Like, she's not just going to sit around and wait for somebody else to figure it out. She's going to figure it out herself. I have to figure out what it is that she's going to do in this situation. Like, what action is she going to take? I'll probably have to write a new chapter for that scene. Okay, I gotta talk this through vaguely so I don't give anything away. Basically, I have a role in my story, and there's a character who plays in this major role, and I've just decided that maybe it would be better if it was a different character in this role. But obviously that has ripple effects. That changes like relationships between characters, and like it changes some of the things that happen, and it changes some of the things that people say and like what those things that they say mean. On one hand, I really like this new person in this role instead, but on the other hand, I have to figure out what to do with this other person who I have now kind of booted from this role, because I still need them to play a significant role as well. So I'm kind of thinking through some notes in my notebook, and I feel like it's one of those decisions that I can't completely make right now. I need to sit on it for a day or two. I don't have to make this decision right now, but the sooner I make it, the better. It is 8:52 on Monday, July 8th, and Well, I haven't vlogged in a few days. um, Not that I haven't been working the last few days, but I just haven't vlogged it. Friday after work, I went to the mall, did a little bit of shopping for the first time in a while, like for clothes and stuff. And then I went to Barnes& and Noble, and I was only there for a couple hours because I ended up being at the mall way longer than I expected to. And I got this candle at the mall from Bed Bath & Beyond. It smells like coffee. I don't even like the taste of coffee, but I love the smell. I don't even own a lighter, so this is just smelling. And my mom said I should put it in my car and just let it be like an air freshener. And I think that, like, I was like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm putting it there tomorrow. Oh, it's so good. So while I huff this candle, I'm just going to update you with the progress of my story. So far this month in July, I have done 28,000 words. Like only revised those words. Those words are already written, so don't go saying that's a lot of words to have written in like 8 days. It's not. I just revised them. So I read over it, made changes. But I'm currently 61,000 words into the story. So I'm a little past the halfway point. But I can't stop smelling the candle. I'm at the point in my story where I'm trying to, okay, I think I mentioned in my last chatty thing with you that I have a character who plays a major role in the story, and I was thinking of making it a different character who plays that role. And so I've been kind of going back and forth on that, but then I was like, and I had another character that I was like, oh, this character could probably play this role. But then I was like, okay, but that character, that doesn't really align with that character's like views and motivations and stuff. And so I was like, okay, but it has to be that first character then. But then I was like, alright, like, it's so hard. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I can just like invent a new character who can fit that role. But I don't know that that's the answer either. You know, it's hard because I'm like halfway through the story, things are happening, this role needs to be filled, and right now it's being filled by one character, and I'm continuing to write it as if it's this character, but also dropping hints that it could be the second character I was considering. You'll have to excuse the smell of cheese. I just ate the last of my Gouda. And it was so good. I just wanted to wrap up what I did. I didn't do a lot, mind you, so don't get too excited. Oh, I did like 349 words. I wrote a new scene, or I wrote part of a new scene. I didn't finish it because I just kind of got to that point where I didn't quite know how I wanted the next part of it to go. Or I knew how I wanted to go, I just didn't know how to write it. And then I get distracted by other things, so I start looking around on the internet for whatever, and then you kind of just get out of your groove if you were ever even in one to begin with. My goal is to finish this draft by the end of the month, but to break that down even further, I want to reach the last chapter by, I think, July 25th. As I've been revising, I'm making a running list of things that I want to change, like, oh, tweak this in that chapter, or asking you a question like, is this really how I want it to go, or, you know, reminding myself to incorporate details, or basically just things that I want to revise, but I'll come back to them. And so I want to leave myself that last week and a half to do all those remaining things. And then I want to finish it. I definitely need to finish it before August because I'm going on a trip in August, and I don't want to have to. It comes at a kind of a perfect time because it gives me just enough of a break from this story once I finish this draft, that when I come back from that trip, I can figure out what project I'm going to work on next, whether I'm going to go back to Pitchfork or whether I'm going to line edit or continue to revise Stormcloud. I'm not really sure yet. I do want to try to submit Stormcloud to Pitch Wars again in the fall, and they pushed Pitch Wars back to like October or something this year, which is great because I felt like August just came on too quickly. Alright, so it is Tuesday, July 9th, and it is like 7 p.m. or something. Yeah, and I just had a sweet potato smoothie because I found out that was a thing, and I have never gotten out of my bed quicker to make it. So I made it, and it was actually pretty good, but it tasted like my peanut butter smoothie because I did put peanut butter in it. What? Who's yelling out there? But anyway, it's like 3 kids on bicycles. Anyway, so I can't with these people. Completely different issue. My main character is about to do something because she needs to be active. She needs to make things happen. I figured out a way for her to kind of like a means to find this thing. So I'm trying to figure out, like, there's 2 ways that this could happen. Okay, she finds an object that will help her find this thing. She's found this object now, and so it can diverge. You know, we're at a yellow road, good lord. We're at a fork in the road. Either she can do something and it can go this way, or she can make a different decision and go this way. And I just basically have my notebook here. I still have not finished this notebook, by the way. I'm gonna write in it and I'm gonna try to flesh this idea out and figure out which path she should take, because I don't want to just write one and then it ends up being kind of a waste and then I have to go back and write the other one. I'd rather just work it out in my notebook now and then I'll figure out which way, because like I don't write in this notebook enough. Every time I write in the notebook I figure out the answer to the question that's been plaguing me, you know, but it's never my first thought to go to write it in the notebook. So I'm trying to train myself and also make myself less lazy, because sometimes I get too lazy to write in the notebook. I just want to like put it on my computer. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now, and yeah, I'll come back to you later. I literally always start these videos trying to say the date, but I never know what the date is off the top of my head. It's July 10th. It's Wednesday. Yep. And I just got home from Barnes & Noble and I was working on a scene and I was overthinking the scene. So I had to do a writing sprint and that helped to get me into it. And then I got to a point where it bridged over into another scene that I wasn't totally sure about, or rather I was about to write the scene and then I realized that it wasn't possible for the events to happen in the scene that I was about to write, because like realistically something else would have happened as a result of what she just did in the previous scene, so it wouldn't have happened the way I was about to write it. So I have to now rethink that. I got home like 3 hours ago, but I've basically been up and around and doing stuff since then, so I only like just now sat down to, and then there goes my alarm. During my break at work today, I took a couple of notes on the chapter. I read through the next chapter that I have to revise. It's one of those situations where I really have to make sure I'm doing it right, because otherwise I'm gonna have to go and rewrite this whole thing again. But you know how like sometimes you just want to dive in and write it, like you don't want to sit there and plan it. I mean, it depends on, I guess, what kind of writer you are, but for me, like sometimes I don't want to sit there and plan it. Sometimes I just want to jump in there, mainly because I'm too lazy to take the notes and to figure stuff out, you know, the hard way, you know. But it's also one of those things, like if you do the work up front, then you'll thank yourself later. Maybe. Unless things change again later on. Who the heck knows? Hello, it's Friday night, July 12th, and it's like 9:15 p.m. and I just got home a few minutes ago from Barnes & Noble. I was there for like 3 hours and 15 minutes-ish. And I finally surpassed the 30,000 word mark. Altogether, I have almost 64,000 words. So I've got roughly 37-ish thousand words to go. And we've still got like 2.5 weeks left of the month. So we are making really good time. So today I worked on chapter 17. This is a new chapter that I added with this draft. It was a chapter in which my character could be more active in one of the things that she's trying to do. She just discovered something and then she got in trouble. She got in trouble because she did something that was not exactly legal. So I finally finished writing the scene. It's taking me like 3 days to write this scene, mainly because, well, actually today I rewrote the entire scene from scratch. I had a different scene yesterday, but then today I made it something else. And then the scene that I wrote before, I'm going to move that a bit later in the book and then add to it then. But I'm glad I finally pushed through this. I finally finished the chapter. But part of the reason it took me so long to write it was because aside from like being lazy or being distracted by other activities and not really focusing on the story or focusing on writing, aside from those things, I was just kind of a little uncertain. And if I get uncertain with how a scene's gonna go, I could write about it. I could try to take like, you know, brainstorm about it or like kind of write through my thoughts in my notebook. But another thing that works for me sometimes is time. Sometimes it just takes a couple of days of letting the idea sit in the back of my head before I figure things out. Usually it helps to let that simmer in the back of my head for a couple of days and then I come to the story and do some brainstorming or writing in my notebook. Usually that seems to work for me. Although when you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo and time is of the essence, you don't always have 2 and 3 days to let an idea sit. So, you know, you just kind of got to find the balance. Sometimes you just push through. Sometimes you can skip it and come back later. Sometimes you can just take the time that you need regardless of the fact that it's Camp NaNoWriMo or that you're on a deadline of any sort. Cool. Now I'm going to jump ahead to chapter 19. That's the next story. Because what I did was when I didn't really know how chapter 17 was going to go. I skipped ahead to chapter 18 and then went back to chapter 17 and just finished it. So next is going to be chapter 19, and 19 is going to change locations. So right now it's written with one location, but then I realized it should actually take place in a different location, but the same things are going to happen. It's just going to be happening somewhere else. So that's one of those things, one of those scenes where I'm going through and I'm changing details and adding in new details to kind of flesh it out more. I think I'm going to try to revise chapter 19 tonight. It's 9:20 p.m. I usually stay up pretty late Friday nights because it's the weekend party, and I'm going to call my dad. Tomorrow is going to be a really busy day for me. I have a lot of things going on, including editing this video among other things, because I'm about to go out of town and I need to kind of tie up some loose ends before I go. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to write tomorrow, maybe in the evening, but we'll see. Definitely, I think on Sunday I'm going to be able to write again. So I think that is where we're going to pick up for the next vlog. So that is me wrapping it up for this vlog, the first 2 weeks of Camp NaNoWriMo. I've made, I think, really good progress. I would say this is actually been a very pleasant revision experience, because sometimes revisions can be very difficult. Sometimes it can feel like you're not really making any changes to the story, or like it's not really getting better, or sometimes I feel like I'm doing a revision and the story is actually getting worse. It's usually not, but sometimes in the moment it can feel that way. But I feel like this has been a very good revision, knock on wood. I think that's the first time I've actually knocked on wood where I was actually knocking on wood, because normally I just knock on whatever's around. So I revised just over 30,000 words for the first 2 weeks of the month. Halfway through the month, halfway done with our progress, and I'm really going to try to power through in the next week to get this done. So that's going to be really interesting. Oh boy. Okay, anyway, I hope you guys are doing well with your revisions or whatever you're working on for Camp NaNoWriMo. Let me know down below if you are participating and like what you're working on, and if you guys have like a channel, like a YouTube channel or a Twitter page or something, let me know so I can like follow you and whatnot. But yeah, connect with other writers and stuff. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next writing vlog. Toodaloo.